In my heart, I love this theater. I was here the very, very first time when the seats were dilapidated, and I remember there, I just mentioned this before, which is, just such a great memory, trying to make the theater somehow viable so people could come in and we could have an evening and raise funds. And I remember there finding all the townspeople who were helping, finding wrappers, candy wrappers, and stuffing them with paper and putting them in the candy counter, which is still there. I mean, it was just, and there was the original poster of King Kong in the lobby. It was, what an experience. This is what, like 30 years ago now, something like that? Wow, I'm not that old. Yes, I am. Actually, I am. I am now 90.
So, Rita, you were telling me before that it's been a while since you've seen Singin' in the Rain.
Yeah, and by the way, it's my favorite movie that I've ever done. It's what I call my Christmas movie. I watch it at Christmas time, and I laugh every time like I'd never seen it before. I think it's a work of genius. I really, really do, and I'm gonna see it tonight on the big screen. I'm so excited.
Now, do you remember the first time you saw it?
The first time I saw it?
Singin' in the Rain?
No, you're gonna tell me something I don't remember.
No, I was asking if you had a recollection of maybe going to the premiere or something like that.
I did go to a premiere, and it was thrilling because I was in it and so was Gene Kelly. And that was, he was always my hero, being a dancer, as I was. That was just being in a movie that had Gene Kelly in it, who directed me in a couple of scenes, because it's a little part, but oh my God. And he decided on how my hair was going to look, what kind of wig I was going to wear. So I met him, well before the film actually started shooting, because he had to okay my costume and costumes, and the way the wig was going to look, and he wanted it to be red. And it fooled me because I thought, oh wow, I can play a white girl. Because it was always, native girls and all that. And suddenly I was playing this white character, and I was beyond thrilled. And I thought, this is gonna start a whole new career for me. No, it didn't. It was back to Island Girls. It's amazing how stubborn people can be when they want to see you in only one way. Maddening, just maddening.
And you were cast in those roles even before Singin' in the Rain, when you were under contract with MGM, right?
Yeah, right.
And did you remain under contract with MGM after Singin' in the Rain?
I think that, yeah, because we did I? Well, you remember dates. I'm 90, so I'm gonna ask you a question. Did I do Pagan Love Song first? No, I did Toast to New Orleans first. That was a musical. That was my very first musical. And then was Pagan Love Song next, where I played a native girl. And surprise, surprise. And then I got to play this wonderful character, small as the part was in the Singin' in the Rain.
And were you surprised when you were cast in the film?
I was absolutely amazed. I didn't realize at the time, because I was so apolitical at the time, that was a big deal. He was putting me in this part, and it had nothing to do with nationality or politics or anything else. He just thought I'd be a good Zelda Zander, and Zelda Zanda. And I have to tell you that the first time my grandsons saw it, they were quite young. I showed it to them in my kitchen. I have a big kitchen with an area that's like a den. And they were seeing the movie, and they looked at me, and then they looked at the screen, and they looked at me some more. They said, "Is that you?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "You don't look it." Thank you.
And did you have a lot of interaction offset with your other co-stars like Debbie Reynolds or
Well,
Jean
Debbie
Egan?
and I became friends, interestingly enough, and kind of friends, not very, very close, but we did things together. We'd see some movies together. You know, we were both pretty much the same age. And I remember one time she said to me, I'm going to perform for my high school tomorrow or Saturday or something. You want to come? I said, yeah, sure. And what I remember the most about that evening was not her performing at the high school, but her getting ready, getting dressed to go to this high school performance that she was going to do. And we both left her bedroom because we were running late, and then she ran back into the bedroom, opened a top drawer of a chest, took out 2 giant powder puffs and stuck them into her bra. Never said a word, and she said, okay, I'm ready. I mean, they must have looked weird. Powder puffs do not resemble breasts under any circumstances.
Well, Rita, what was it like being on the MGM lot in 1952?
God, first of all, when I got Singin' in the Rain, I got the part of that. I visited almost every single day. I visited the shooting of Singin' in the Rain. I was there for everything. The Be a Clown number, which is still my favorite. Not be a clown, make them laugh. And I found out, for instance, that I watched all of the shooting of almost every number, except for the ballads like "You Are My Lucky Star." But all the dance numbers, I ate them up. I was there literally. I would go there like 9 in the morning, and I'd have lunch in the commissary of MGM Studios. I mean, MGM. Think of it, the people who made The Wizard of Oz. And I was there for almost every day. I was there when Gene shot the Singin' in the Rain number with 103 fever. In that rainy sequence, he had 103 fever. I was there when I was visiting when Donald O'Connor did the Make 'em Laugh number, which, by the way, don't know if you're aware of it, he had to shoot it all over again. Did you know that? Because something was wrong with the camera. And you know, he killed himself in that number. That thing where he was ha 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 ha. He had rubber and something fierce on that arm, and it wasn't really healed when he had to do it all over again. So I was there for everything. Being at MGM was unreal. I visited all the sets. I visited the set of Summer Stock with Judy Garland.
Wow.
And was Gene Kelly in that too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in that too. And I saw Judy Garland from afar, but I visited. They would find a chair for me because they knew I was a young contract player. And I was there for, almost every movie that was made then, musical, I was there to visit it. I came all the time. It was like I died and gone to heaven. And then when I did Pagan Love Song, which was with Esther Williams, we used to call her Esther the Backstroke Williams. She was a swimmer, for those young people who don't know, but she was a big star. And she did a lot of swim numbers, so it was a musical. And I remember going to Lot 2. There were 2 lots, MGM Lot 1 and MGM Lot 2, which was all the outdoor stuff. They had a real sailboat there, a buccaneer kind of pirate ship, where they shot The Pirate, the musical The Pirate. And that was amazing because they had a man-made lake in there. And they could make it look like, they could put waves in it and make it look like it was the ocean. And then they had a tank for Esther Williams's underwater numbers. And you know how she did it on one breath? Right. They would have sections inside this tank, and they would light it the way they would light a movie set, except the lights were stronger because they had to go through the water. And she had a little thing that she put on her nostrils because she was in the water when she was doing a number like that. it would take days to shoot. And she would get a very irritated sinus. So somebody made a little fake nostrils for her so the water wouldn't go into her nose. And the way she did numbers where they were continuous, and you know, we all used to think, how does she do that? She do that in one breath? No, it can't be. And we were right, it couldn't be. What they did was that they would put a big, beautiful underwater plant that was undulating. And she would go just in back of it. And when she went in back of it, they would cut the camera. It would stop filming. And then the camera would pick her up when she was on the other side of the plant. But that was another, completely other new take.
You know, Singin' in the Rain is it really is a Valentine to the movies.
Oh, yes.
And it reminds me to ask you, what, did you go to a lot of movies when you were a little kid?
Oh, I lived in the movies. And I would be there all day. And my mother would pay for a hot dog or a sandwich at Nedick's and a drink, which was really cheap then, like 10 cents for the sandwich and 5 cents for the orange drink. And I would spend the day there. All the kids did this. I mean, nobody would leave. Nobody would leave, and it made the theater owner crazy because he wasn't making money. And you know, it cost all of 25 cents to get in.
Who were some of your favorite stars that you watched?
I loved Lana Turner. She was such a glamour girl. I loved, oh my God, I met Clark Gable one day. I actually met Clark Gable. And it was my very first day on the MGM lot. And I had already been assigned a movie called The Toast of New Orleans with a new hot young tenor named Mario Lanza. And see, you can tell who the old farts are. and the producer, Joe Pasternak, who produced tons of musicals, he was a kind of a slightly lower level producer, but he made a lot of movies, and Toast of New Orleans was one of them. And he was walking on the lot with me. I think he was taking me to lunch. This is before we started to film. And he was just trying to make a young girl very, very happy. And Gable came by and he said, I want you to meet somebody. He said, Clark, I want you to meet our newest contract player, Rosita. Rosita Alvario. And Clark, you know, in his ways, you know, hello, Rita. Rosita. And I damn near peed my pants. Clark Gable? I was, 16? And I'd been seeing movies. I had seen Gone with the Wind, for God's sake, probably 4 or 5 times. So, you know, whenever I'd meet someone like that, I would just clutch my crotch, because I was, I know I was going to do something. Hello. But you can imagine this little Puerto Rican kid and this little Puerto Rican girl who Puerto Ricans didn't even exist then, according to, you know, American people. So it was astonishing. My very first day there, that was with Mr. Joe Pasternak, the producer. He took me to lunch at the canteen, the commissary. And, you know, I went to the steam table and I was so impressed. They had all kinds of exotic foods there, like mashed potatoes and roast beef and pumpkin pie, American food. You know, I was just astonished. It was astonishing. And then in walks my idol, Elizabeth Taylor. I thought I would just die. She was beautiful. She was so beautiful. Wow. She was everything you thought she would be in terms of looks. She was gorgeous.
And I understand when you first met Louis B. Mayer,
yes.
Elizabeth Taylor
who was the mayor in Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer.
And Elizabeth Taylor came and was mentioned, right, when he first met you?
Oh, that's right. You're right. That's right. When I met Mr. Louis B. Mayer, was a talent scout had spotted me at a recital, a dancing school recital. And that's how all of this happened. And he said to me, the time isn't right now, but he says, I think you're perfect for MGM, because he saw me dancing in a dancing school recital. Here's my card, Dudley Wilkinson, I'll never forget his name. And he said, when Mr. Mayor comes to town, whenever that is, I want you to meet him and him to meet you, because he says, I just think you're perfect for MGM. You dance, you sing, and this is a musical studio. And sure enough, that's what happened. He made an appointment for me about 6 months later to meet Mr. Mayor at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. I never even heard of it. I mean, you know, who went to hotels? I mean, who hung out in the lobbies of hotels? You didn't. We didn't know where it was. So we did something very expensive. We took a taxi from the ghetto, you know, the Hispanic ghetto, to the Waldorf Astoria. And then once we got there, we didn't know how to reach him. So my mother goes to the desk with me, and she says to the lady at the desk, we have an appointment with Mr. Luis B. Major. Because Y's are J's for Latinos. Do you know what I'm saying? And the lady said, just take the elevator, go to PH, penthouse. And that's what we did. And my God, the elevator opens and it's in his apartment. Can you imagine? It opened into an apartment. And that's where I met him. And my mother and I had done everything to make me look as similar to Elizabeth Taylor as we could. So we went, I remember she had a tiny waist, so we went looking for a waist cincher. My hair I did like her. I did my eyebrows like her. And other things got some help as well. And you know what? The moment he saw me and met me, he said, you look like a Spanish Elizabeth Taylor. I was thrilled. But that's how that happened.
Well,
I mean, I have stories, but my dear, I can't tell all of them. There's so many.
well, I bet these people would love to hear them all.
I'm sure. They're fun.
You know, I will say, you know, you've appeared in the another adaptation of West Side Story released last year.
Right.
I think you should star in a new adaptation of Singin' in the Rain in the Debbie Reynolds part.
No, too young. I have to be the movie star who says, I can't stand it. Remember Jean Hagen? God, she was funny. And the actress, I can't remember the actress's name who was playing the teacher, the elocution teacher.
Kathleen Freeman.
No, Kathleen
Freeman.
Kathleen Freeman. And the one says, no, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And she didn't say stand it, she would say stand it. No, I can't stand it. She'd say, I can't understand it. One of the greatest scenes in movie, musical, comedy history, I think. Oh my God, what a great movie.
Well, as Lena Lamont would say, I think you're better than Calvin Coolidge put together.
And you know who I love in it? How they found this man, the casting people found this man. It's the man who, near the very beginning of the movie, who is in a movie and he says, hello. And he had a real horse face. Do you remember him? You old farts, you remember him? And he says, this is a speaking motion picture. And he had horse teeth. And he was so ugly, and it was being shown. It was so homely. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie. This is a speaking picture. There's everything to love in this movie. I cannot wait.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're in 4 scenes, but in the
Just 4 scenes.
You're the inciting incident in the 3rd act. I mean,
Right.
you start everything towards the end of the picture.
I give Debbie Reynolds a secret away.
Spoiler alert.
Right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we can talk all night, but we got a picture to watch.
Right. And you'll be happy.
Rita Moreno.